I'm Carol Cusio. I live in Beaumont, Texas, and I served in Zambia from 2006 to 2008. It's extremely important for volunteers to serve because it brings so much back to America. It provides understanding for other cultures and, makes Americans see that, other cultures are so important, for us to see and to understand and get to see it from a different perspective.
My name is Linda Kanzler. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Uganda during the years 1967, 1968, and 1969. I joined the Peace Corps right after I graduated from Lamar and ended up being posted to a boys' boarding school in the eastern region of Uganda in a village on a dirt road about 10 miles from Mbale, which was a regional center. My experience in that boys' boarding school was a continuous 24-hour experience because we resided there and lived on the compound and ate the food there and did everything that our African counterparts and colleagues did. I felt like I grew up in Uganda, having gone straight there after graduating from college, and I think it broadened my horizons quite a bit. I had traveled a great deal before, but living in another culture is just very difficult to explain. I looked up one day when I was walking down the sidewalk in the capital of Kampala, and I was the only white person. It gave me insight into how people here in our country have felt when they were in the minority. We have that here in our Southeast Texas area, and I think that it has helped me bridge some gaps in our culture and has given me understanding into perhaps how people feel and how they react to things.
John Blake. I served in Afghanistan from 1971 to 74. As next, it's our nation's best chance to let other nations' peoples know about real Americans, and not from movies or other forms of media. It's our best chance to get to know people on a one-to-one basis and for them to get to know us on a one-to-one basis. And for them to understand that all people pretty much have the same ambitions in life, same desires for their family, for their country, for their friends, that all countries really are linked together by being members of this world.
My name is John Shirk. I live in Houston, Texas. I served in the Peace Corps in Morocco from 1998 to 2001. I think the most important part of my experience with the Peace Corps was the fact that it gave me an understanding of international culture, international religious experiences, where I developed a much broader understanding of Islam and my own understanding of my own faith as a Christian.
I believe my nation is a land of plenty, and we should be responsible to help those that need help. And I've lived my whole life working on a skill set so that I am ready to serve. I have enough education to serve in an area, I have enough language skills to serve, to be a good representative of the United States. And the saying, to whom much is given, much is required, I live that code. And I've lived within the United States in different regions, and now it's ready for, I would like to serve outside of the
My name is Mark Husfeld. I'd served in Peace Corps Panama between 205 and 207. I'm currently living here in College Station, going to Texas A&M University, and actually have enrolled in the Masters International program, so I'm signing up for a second stint. Don't know where they're going to send me yet, but I'm excited to find out. I think Peace Corps matters to our nation because here in the States we're so blessed to have so much resource, but with that resource comes more responsibility. And to me, it's sort of the softer side of our foreign policy, and it's important to our diplomacy as a nation.
Well, I think it matters, and speaking from a pre-service perspective, my perception is that it really develops people who are going to be able to do good work as ambassadors for the United States going forward, working on projects abroad, working in international fields, really putting forth the goodwill for our country that is going to be important for the relationships that our country needs in the future, especially as other countries are developing and rising, and we're going to have to share more of our power and our resources.
My name is Nicole Cressy. I was a Peace Corps volunteer in Guatemala from 2006 to 2009, and I did small business development in a very rural town in the middle of nowhere, Guatemala, and I loved it. I think Peace Corps is a phenomenal opportunity to really share all that's good about our American culture and an American education system and work ethic. And I think that it really teaches us as Americans to realize all the opportunities and the benefits that we have in this country.
Joanne Feldman Richards, and I served in Eritrea from 1966 to 1960.
I'm Hamilton Richards, and I served in Ethiopia from 1966 to 68.
And we went there single, and we came home married. Well, for me, I think Peace Corps matters because it gave me a worldview that I wouldn't have had an opportunity to have any other way.
For me, Peace Corps makes a difference in the connections that it builds between Americans and citizens of other countries. We know much more about them as a result, and they know more about us. And more acquaintance doesn't automatically solve problems, but it's a good first step in most cases.
My name is Greg Engel, and I served in Korea from 1980 to 81 when our program in Korea came to an end. I think Peace Corps matters for a couple of different reasons. First, I think it's a phenomenal, very unique program where over 5 decades we've sent tens of thousands of, in fact, a couple of 100,000 volunteers overseas to all corners of the world, places where Americans typically don't go. And I know from my own experience that people in those countries are really affected by the fact that here are these Americans who leave the safety and security and well-being of the United States to come and work in their countries on their behalf. And so I think it generates a tremendous amount of goodwill. And at the same time, these volunteers come back to the United States, a country with a relative dearth of experience and knowledge about the developing world, and then they become a resource and an asset to the United States because they have a better understanding of what's going on over there. And these are areas that are of great concern to the United States in terms of its own national security, in terms of international stability and security. So I think a robust Peace Corps is a very, very positive thing for the United States.
My name is Katie Prentice, and I served in the Republic of Latvia from 2000 to 2002. I live here in San Antonio, Texas now, and I'm a librarian in higher education. Peace Corps matters so much because when individual Americans meet individuals in other countries, they get to know what America and Americans are really about. My best example of this is that my mom and dad actually came to visit me. Both of my parents are veterans. They were a little nervous about the Peace Corps thing and what was I joining and what did it mean. And today, now 10 years later, my mom still has a pen pal in my town where I served in Aizpute, Latvia. And they write letters. About 2 years ago, they switched to email. And that's one connection with one American and one lady who lives in a little country who thinks it's great that she knows an American. She knows me, my mom, my dad, and it's a family, and we're connected now across a lot of miles.
My name is Edwin Price. I served in Sarawak. It was Sarawak 1 from 1962 to 1964. My job was a 4-H club organizer, along with most of our well, I think the original precept in Kennedy's thoughts were that Peace Corps would be as much for enriching America as it would be for what we do in other countries. And I believe that has been proven to be the case. I'm continually pleased and amazed by the roles that former Peace Corps volunteers are playing, returned Peace Corps volunteers are playing in their communities. And what's amazing to me is that they brought back to their own communities the same kind of friendly, easygoing outreach that are the skills that we depend upon to be successful volunteers overseas. That is, I find them playing roles as teachers, community workers, local leaders, in very often humble roles, but always thinking of others first. It just seems to always come through. Whenever I attend any kind of meeting, former Peace Corps volunteers, or just meet my colleagues who are, it seems to be a common thread of a choice that they made in life to be of benefit to others and to pursue it often in very humble and easygoing ways. That doesn't mean that some of them aren't famous. I mean, there are plenty of Peace Corps volunteers. I work with Peter McPherson, who's president of the American Association of Public and Land-Grant Universities, former director of USAID. But even Peter's still a cool head when it comes to dealing with others and his approach to people. So I think we did bring a gift back, and that gift was probably born in us before we went overseas, but certainly serving others in other countries has helped us to refine what gifts we might have had.